up, everybody? It's another week of Ask Me Anything, or actually now it's Ask Us Anything, and it is, by its sheer nature, a happy hour. So cheers to everybody. Happy late Valentine's Day. Hopefully you all had a good time, and we are here today to do nothing but answer your questions. As stupid as your questions are, or you think they are, we will answer all of them right after this. We'll see you in a second. All right, back at it. Ask Me Anything in the house with, almost the full Brady bunch. We almost got it, but let's just go from top to bottom. Mr. Snaggy, what's going on? Got anything happening on your end?
Hey, what's up, everybody? No, just it's still hot off the 3-day training this last weekend, which was awesome, by the way. If you haven't caught it, I think we're going to have some recordings available if you want to give that a whirl and prepare for the next one. We'll do it 3 or 4 months from now. And then we have the Private Money Club coaching has been filling up. So if you haven't purchased that yet, make sure you get in our first class that we're doing. We're doing some really cool bonuses for some of you, but you got to ask me about that. And outside of that, life is good. Happy Valentine's Day yesterday. Hope everybody had their special someone or something or whatever, but you had a great day. And yeah, man, it's all good.
Very cool. And we got the boss in the house. The boss actually showed up today. So what's happening, boss?
Nothing. I'm hanging. I'm hiding in my room because Harper brought a friend home from school, so they're just ripping up the house right now, just running people. So I came and hid in here.
Awesome. All right. I love spreadsheets. How's it going? I love spreadsheets.
Doing really well. Just crunching some numbers, and if anybody needs some addition, subtraction, division, I'm your guy.
Nice. And how about the Money Multiplier podcast? How you doing?
No, I'm doing good. I've been prepping actually today. So we got Anaheim coming up next week along with Birmingham. And then the week after that, I got Provo, Utah. So I've just been kind of mentally prepping and then also getting all my material ready.
I know a thing or two about those back-to-back-to-backs. I'm glad I'm not doing it, and I'm glad it's you. And then we've got May the Force Bank with you. What's happening?
Not much. Hello. Love this team. Love all the things being said here already. And like you said, you got the Yoda in the background, right? For the positive force, or you got the balance with Darth Vader. So, that's what we're going to be answering, kind of slaying some of those Darth Vader instincts that we have to think that, hey, this is too good to be true. You get a lot of that every day.
We got to get you to paint one of those Yoda ones, but instead of Yoda, you put the BYOB face on there. That might be pretty cool. Kind of think, Bansky style stuff. And then we got Joe.
Mr. Sideways.
That was horrible for a second there, but we got it fixed. Yep. Just been on the phone all day long. Imagine that, right? Since 9 o'clock this morning. Helped 6 people today. So that's what I do, and that's what I like to do.
Awesome. Well, we're going to jump into questions. I mean, I'm up here in Buffalo, New York. And from what they're saying, that train derailment dumped some really nasty stuff. So Lake Erie, which is a really clean lake, is now going to be super polluted. And supposedly there's clouds blowing over Buffalo that are going to drop the equivalent of Chernobyl. So this might be the last time you see me. And if it is, just know I'm okay. I'll be looking over all of you. And, that's about all I have to say. So what questions we got? We don't have Gabby on, so who wants to host the questions?
She texted us some good ones earlier. I gotta find them.
The boss has got it. The boss has got it. Thank you, boss.
Okay, we've got a couple. So first one comes from Kevin. Can I add cryptocurrency from an exchange directly to a policy?
Oof, I don't think so. No.
No.
We looked into that one day. Not yet. How about a not yet?
Okay, not yet.
I got a guy that's going to supposedly be flying in to meet with me about how they, with the Nelson Nash Institute, has found a way to use blockchain with infinite banking. So we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, this one's a long one. So from Ross, My situation is kind of hard to describe. Hopefully you can provide some guidance. I want to fund a business venture with $28K. And up until recently, I planned to do that with a direct recognition company. I plan to do a dump in and then take it back out on a policy loan, but have gotten some light resistance from the carrier with which I'm appointed. Would it be better to get a policy with a non-direct recognition company for this purpose? Also, if I put the 28,000 as premium in the first year, or enough to get that much in cash value, what does that mean for premiums in later years? I.e., does that mean the second year premium has to be a lot too? How can I arrange it so that I will be able to afford the subsequent premiums after my initial investment? And finally, what is the best way to go about that if I'm only appointed with one carrier?
Is your carrier Mass Mutual? Just asking for a friend.
No, they said direct recognition. So Mass is
Yeah,
non-
good point. That's not Mass. So who the heck would restrict you from taking a loan immediately if it's not Mass? I mean, Mass
probably
is
some
Well,
unknown
it's-
company that he should
Yeah.
never be doing an infinite banking policy with, which people do all
Like
the
a
time. They think just because they're an insurance
Northwestern.
agent.
Oh,
they-
yeah. I bet you it is Northwestern. Yeah, I bet it
Yeah.
is. Yep. And, hey, let us know if we got that one right, because we're always counting our little chings. Gosh, that's a lot to unpack. But first off, I mean, if you're funding a business venture, that probably means, well, the one thing you didn't mention in there is, are you using the infinite banking concept? Are you going to find a way to recycle money back to your policy as a loan repayment for the 28,000 you take out? That's a very important question, because number one, we want to make sure you're not stealing from your bank. Number two, we want to make sure you're following a process, not just buying a product and putting 28 grand into it. And number three, that really would be a key piece of information to know what that recycle recapture looks like when you're talking about direct versus non-direct. If I guessed you're taking it out for a business venture, that means that there might not be any recaptured money in the beginning, because businesses sometimes lose money a couple of years. And if you're not recapturing the money and paying the loan back, a direct recognition company is going to be the wrong company to use. So you might want to look at doing it with a direct recognition or non-direct recognition company, like a One America, a Lafayette Life, a Security Mutual. Those would all serve really well. In terms of the dump in that you're putting in, and I'm going to have Hannah hit on this too, and anyone else, the dump in can be any dollar amount you want. So you could put in, let's hypothetically say 32,000, you could take 28 out, and then you can pick and choose how much you want to put in premiums on subsequent years, or even that year, and it does not have to be 28,000 or 32,000. It can be usually about a 10 to 12 time rule. So let's just do 30 for round numbers. If you were doing 30,000, essentially you'd have to do, what would that be roughly? I don't want to do 10 times. Joe, you're really good with this stuff. Someone wants to dump 30 grand in. Minimum would be technically 3, but let's just say 5 grand a year. 5 to 6 grand a year is about where it would be. I should have asked Craig that, because he probably had that number in his head with the spreadsheet.
I actually did run it before the show. So
well, then take over.
Yeah, and
I love Craig.
yeah, I mean, there are some variables here that we don't know. We don't know your age. We don't know your health ratings. So there's some of those factors. But I mean, you could do a $28,000 dump, $7,000 a year. There's going to be a little bit of term on that to keep it from mecking, but on a 70-30 plan, you could get more than 28,000 out in your first 30 days. So those are some of the things you could look at. Of course, as Chris said, we can bump that $7,000 premium down, but we may have to play around with some of the term on it. But I guess what we need to know is a little bit more about your situation. Like Chris mentioned, are you planning to pay those back? What other cash do you have? Is the business going to fund some of that policy? But just as a really rough number, a 70-30 plan, you can do a $28,000 dump, $7,000 a year, and that should get you what you need.
My 2 cents on it, and you can weigh in too, but like let's pretend that he's going to subscribe to a $7,000 a year policy moving forward. He dumped in enough to get 28,000. Even though it's for a business venture, it kind of, my mind's looking at it the way we look at cars, right? So if you're buying a car, you can structure like a 5-year repayment. So if this is a business that's going to take off and you essentially would like to pay, you need to pay yourself back. So you could almost structure it as if it was a car loan, correct? Like in over like 5 years, recoup that through your business and then some, because we make businesses with the intent to make a profit, correct?
Yeah, like lend money to the company from your banking policy, charge your company an interest rate, and then just set the amortization schedule for as long as you want that fits the cash flow that the business can support. That's how I do it, because that way you're absolutely following the infinite banking concept. You're not stealing from your bank. You're then, recapturing money back into the policy to repay the loan down to keep everything nice and healthy in the later years.
I want to add on to that. Excuse me. I don't know what it is, the pollen around here, but
it's the shit in the air. It already got to you.
you see my car right now. It's actually a little mad. Over the weekend, I went and washed it. Now it's like all covered again. But so what I would do with the ongoing premiums as well, my thing of what people don't understand is that with those ongoing premiums, I mean, let's talk about it. You've accumulated $28,000 from doing what? You go out, produce your money, and then what are you doing? You're saving money somewhere. Where are you saving those dollars? Instead of saving it inside of that qualified plan or your regular checking or savings account, all right, do the same thing that you already accumulated all those dollars with. Just pivot the cash flow and have that be your ongoing premiums into that policy in those subsequent years. Okay.
All right. Hopefully we answered that question for you, Ross.
Yeah, and if Ross can tell us if it's Northwestern, we want to hear that or not. Get it right.
We like our brownie points when we get things right.
Okay, and then I've got one more, and then we can go to the questions in the chat, which so far I only see one question in the chat. So once we get to that one, make sure you guys are thinking of some stuff. So this one's from Jerry. Okay. I've been doing real estate for many years. I got into it inadvertently by renting out my primary home in 2013 once I bought my second home. And I also own a place of business as well that has a small apartment behind it and a garage space I rent out as storage. I've never felt like an investor, but I understand the power of real estate and equity. Do you have any advice for someone who needs to shift into gears with real estate?
I mean, you're already doing it. I mean, don't think of yourself as not being an investor. I mean, I know, it's start with kind of being an investor. Started with the primary house, probably goes to a different one, kept that house, rented it out. Unbelievable stories about people that started that way, and you kind of got the bug, and then the business and all that. I just think you just, number one, need to change your mindset and accept the fact that you are a real estate investor and doing well with it. And you might not be diving in head first and trying to get thousands of units, but I think the slow and steady path is always the best path. I think the thing you got to do in the future is say to yourself, what side of real estate you want to be in. What is your focus? What strategy are you going to apply in the future for future real estate deals? Or, are you going to just move over to the other side and follow what Greg Hurleen said? The ultimate in real estate is being the bank. And then, you could just basically accumulate money from all those rentals, save it up, and then lend it out and not have to deal with any of those tenants, termites, or all the toilets as, who always said that? Why am I forgetting?
Kevin Torp.
Yeah.
It reminds me of what we've been talking about all weekend too with the Private Money Club, like accelerator coaching kind of. I feel like we know a lot of people, like that kind of also reminds me of John Zuch. Like it's like the millionaire next door, like people who are doing stuff that don't necessarily feel like they're doing it, but they are, and just really kind of taking it to that next level. So I know Stephen and Noah have a coaching program coming up the beginning of March. So anybody who really is interested in, getting more into that, I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, on that, I can kind of show you. This is something new we just came out with. So if you guys want to take a quick look at it, this Private Money Club coaching, a lot went into this, and there's two separate courses. So one designed specifically for borrowers, one's designed specifically for lenders. And the entire course was created to kind of think like the other So if you're a borrower, for example, it's very important to understand what a lender is looking for, because your number one job as a borrower should be to make as much profit on every deal as you can. And so the lower you can borrow money for, the cost of doing the business, the less you can pay for it, the more profit you're going to make. And so as a borrower, it's very important to know how to present that, know how to decrease the perceived risk, so that way you can pay less. Because me as a lender, if I feel like I'm going to take on a lot of risk on a deal, I'm going to want more percentage. I'm going to want more for my risk. But if I feel very comfortable and they look very professional and they have all their ducks in a row, I'm going to lend to them maybe for less. Maybe if, Craig is brand new and kind of stumbles through and can kind of tell you, doesn't really, hey, Craig, I'll lend you money, but you're going to pay me 15%. And then Chris Nagel's like, hey, listen, Stephen, I've flipped 250 houses. I own a huge portfolio. I have a bunch of lenders that I'm working with. Here's my perfect loan proposal. Here's my personal financial statement. Here's my personal guarantee. Here's everything that you're going to get. Here's all the communication. Well, shit, man, I'll lend to Chris, man. I'll do it for you for 10%. So, that 50% increase just by knowing what you're doing. So as a borrower, it's very, very important to know how to do that. And then as a lender, just as important, how do I evaluate the borrower? How do I evaluate the deal? How do I make sure my paperwork is done right? My risk is as low as possible because I have the right contracts in place. And, how do I communicate that to the borrower? Hey, I'm interested in this deal, but, I want some points up front. How can I maximize what I'm doing to make it a win-win situation for both parties? So we've designed this class to kind of be similar, but focus specifically on what are you doing? Are you a borrower or a lender? And, we go right through. So you can go to this privatemoneyclub.com/accelerator, and you can go right through and look at this and kind of read what you're going to get. But the lender training is going to be Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And it is a 4-week class. So let me clarify. It's actually an 8-week program, but it's 4 weeks of training where each week it's a 90-minute Zoom. So the lending accelerator coaching is going to start March 6th, Wednesday, March the 6th, and then it'll be every Wednesday for 4 weeks in a row. The lender program is going to start Monday, March the 3rd.
It's the 6th and the 8th, but yeah, the first Monday and the first Wednesday of March. Yes, all of the Mondays and all of the Wednesdays in March.
I'll get this added to the website, so I stopped saying it the wrong way. So
it's okay.
But we're going to go right through it. And it's built, the whole program is built around the 3 pillars of success that we think is what it takes to be a successful borrower or lender. So confidence, credibility, and clarity. If you have these things, it's going to allow you to communicate that vision to the borrower or to the lender and show the success that both of you can have. So when you have that confidence, that credibility, and you can relay it through clarity, it's going to just increase those success rates of whatever side of that coin that you're on. So that's what we kind of built the whole program around. And it's led by my good friend, Noah. You guys, a lot of you guys know Noah, but Noah's been doing this for a very long time. Him and his wife have a large real estate portfolio. They've been working with lenders for a very long time, and they are professional coaches as well. So they both have done a lot of coaching in their careers, and we couldn't have gotten a better coach to teach this class to you guys. So I'm super excited for it. So you kind of scroll down through here, pick which class you're going to go to, the borrower or the lender class. And it breaks it out, what you're going to learn in some of them. So the first 4 weeks, like I said, it's a 90-minute Zoom each week. We give you homework that you're going to do that you're going to bring to the following week. And then the idea is by the end of the 4 weeks, you're 100% confident and ready to either borrow or lend money. And then the next 4 weeks of the program is us just going to be holding your hand, making sure you're doing it, answer any questions that pop up, anything that happens. We're right there for you for the next month to give you that support and that hand holding to make sure you get that. Because what have we found, and I've been doing coaching for a long time and training, and what we have really found is if you could teach somebody how to do something one time, they're going to be able to do it over and over and over and over again. It's the same thing with Money Multiplier, these policies. I mean, how many people do you get that start a policy, and as soon as they put that thing in action, they start using it, and they go through the mapping implementation, and they take their first loan, and they become the bank? How quickly are they calling you guys back and wanting to start additional policies immediately? Hannah, you guys taught me this, that a couple of years ago, we evaluated all of the clients that were in the Money Multiplier, and all the clients that have policies for 12 months or longer, over 90% of them have come back to start additional policies. And that just shows you that once you get to, and I mean, Joe, you can tell your story. Joe is hesitant for years, bugging Chris. Just, I mean, I think, it's like that I'm not going to say it, but anyway, so Joe is that guy that's just like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden it clicked. And then, I mean, how many policies do you have now, Joe? I mean, it happens for all of our clients. So the same thing with the coaching program. And so I'm super excited for it. So get your ticket, get your seat. It starts the beginning of March, and we'll get you out there lending and borrowing.
Yeah. Also, I mean, this will be the first round of coaching, so I can't really speak for what's happened in the past, but I have talked to some lenders and some borrowers, and you'd think that the only like relationship on PMC is like lender to borrower, but there are lenders who heavily rely on other lenders to kind of build them up and stuff like that, or like borrower to borrower. And like these classes are groups, so you kind of also get to like walk in to Private Money Club with a group of borrowers or a group of lenders that you're like becoming like a closer like knit group with. So as you go through Private Money Club, you have like more people to bounce things off of because you have that together. So I mean, I haven't proven it yet, but I know that that's coming down the pipe with this first.
Yeah, well, you're the community director, so you would know best, and you've been doing all the interviews, and I know I've heard the same theme coming out of a lot of them. We love being able to talk to other people within Private Money Club and bounce ideas and have that community of being able to, just the like-minded. I mean, it's so hard this day and age. Like so many people, how many of you on this call right now have told somebody, hey, I'm starting a whole life policy, or I'm doing infinite banking, and somebody laughed at you or was like, oh, that doesn't work. I've been studying Dave Ramsey or whatever. Like you hear it all the time. And it's the same thing with private money lending. I tell people, I'm like, we lend money on these deals. I have this private fund, people lend money, and they're like, well, why would somebody do that? That sounds super risky. No, like there's a contract, there's a mortgage, just like the banks do. We underwrite deals just like the banks do. It's all education. Fear is just not understanding. Fear, there's so many different acronyms for fear, but at the end of the day, fear is just not knowing what is next, not knowing what to think. And that's why when people like get in a fight, they get completely scared, or they get in a situation, they're so scared, the fear kicks in because they don't know what's going to happen next. But guess what? Like if you're trained to fight and somebody picks a fight, what are you doing? You're sitting there laughing because you're like, I know exactly what's going to happen next. I'm going to kick your ass. And so you have no fear, right? But it's true though. It happens in all areas of life, but it especially happens in money because people are so scared to talk about money. Like it's just one of those things. So the fear kicks in and we eliminate all that for you.
I love that. Okay, next question. Now we're into the chats. So Kai says, can I borrow the full amount from a policy to make a big purchase such as real estate? I guess the answer would be if the amount's there, right? I don't know.
The answer is yes. It depends on the design, but I mean, we just did Wealth webinar today, and that was a perfect example. Somebody put, they had 500 grand from a windfall. They put it into the policy, and they were able to take 450. I think after the end of the first year, when dividends were paid, it was 458. At the beginning of the year, actually, I got it right here. At the beginning of the year, roughly around 450 to 454,000 that they could take out. So, yeah, that's about 91% in that, and that's one of our carriers called One America.
The other piece of that question, and I don't know if this is being asked, but it says, can I do this for real estate? The thing is, you can do it for whatever you want. So the life insurance company is never going to ask you, why are you taking this loan? Right. So I don't know if that was part of your question, but the funds can be used for anything. They can be used to start a fighting ring for Stephen Nagy and his competitors. I mean, whatever you want.
I love that. He did kind of put a follow-up question in later in the chat too. So Kai, how do you get the funds for a large real estate portfolio? Or do I have to dump the equivalent amount into the withdrawal? I'm going to put it on the screen.
Snaggy, is that you shuffling us?
It's musical chairs. While the question is getting asked, I musically chair, and then whoever ends up in the middle has to answer. It's a new game.
I've been talking enough on this call. Somebody else can talk. Hannah.
No, I can take it. So I guess from the policy standpoint, right, go back to our presentations. You can use whatever cash value that's in that policy, but the borrowing power is determined on how much you put in. If I'm comparing someone who does 10,000 a year versus someone who does 100,000 a year, my 100,000 a year person can just take out 10 times more because they put in 10 times more. So I guess we would really just sit down and look at what do you want to contribute into those policy premiums and kind of what's your situation and game plan is that you're doing. And then how do I acquire my real estate funds? I mean, I work, I got some other passive investments that I'm doing to build up larger for some real estate that I'm doing. I like to use HELOCs if the environment is right. So there's always different ways that you can go out and outsource money. Chris, what is your one book, your first book that you wrote? What's that called again?
Private Money Guide.
Bingo. Go look at the Private Money Guide, because Chris tells you all about where money's at. I mean, there's money everywhere. People just don't know how to go out and look for the money. They just think that, hey, my money is coming in from my active income. No. You can tap into a lot more sources that you have.
Yeah, Private Money Club is the source. If you need money, I mean, that's where you start. And then if you don't know how to do it, then you go through the coaching that Stephen just talked about.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest some coaching. We have the most, I'm going to be biased, but the sweetest lenders in there that we take really good care of. So it's a really good place to learn, but also treat people good. I don't think we have any other questions.
How could that be?
I don't know.
It was love day yesterday. Everyone's tired.
I guess so.
I'm hiding. I failed that completely. I left the chocolate on Patty's desk, and that's about it. That was the extent of my "Will you be my Valentine?" and almond joy.
Boy.
So I'm gonna stay right here with you guys and hide as long as possible before we go to Taekwondo.
Yeah, I made that
mistake. It's been a day. Yeah, I think a lot of people probably feel that way. It's been a week.
I took my girls to the hibachi. They were ding, 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 and throwing the egg around. And...
Hibachi is always so fun, man. It's just an experience. No matter how many times you've done it, they fling the shrimp and try to get it to land in your mouth, and I don't know.
They do the sake.
Yeah, the
yes.
sake.
I was about to ask you to do the sake with the girls.
I know that was Joe. Joe was up there.
he grabbed 2 bottles.
Don't stop, keep going.
He had 2 bottles going. I was like, oh man. The guy at the next table, he's like, oh, that was awesome, dude.
That's always, that's a good one, man. We went to YOLO. It was really nice, but I don't think Vivi could though, because of her peanut allergy, but man, I'd love to take her to hibachi. That would be so fun for her to watch shrimp flying around and noodles flying around and fire.
Making the little volcano with the onion.
The volcano, yeah. The onion volcano fire.
Yeah.
No, but children go either which way with hibachi. They're either really, really scared and terrified when the big flames go up, or they think it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
There's a poll out too asking, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how gangster is Shauna? If anyone wants to touch that. We're all too afraid to answer, so you can go ahead and pick your number.
10.
I had, I'll do a comment. I made a comment on another site, another IBC site, and I was just commenting and just nice. I said, insurance, the question kind of, I didn't read the whole thing, so maybe I was out of line in commenting, but I just said insurance companies don't like, when you do a certain something. And man, I kind of got attacked. Had a bunch of people like attacking me on it, and it was our peers. So it's pretty interesting, in the industry, how people truly, like other agents, truly like have such a limited mindset that we're on a Facebook group. We're all just trying to answer questions. We're not trying to sell or anything. We're just trying to put feedback in. And then somebody just like the first comment back was like just brutal. And I didn't get mad. I just was like, I'm, blah, blah, blah. I just went into it and answered the question. But it's such a limited mindset, on how a lot of other people doing or saying they're doing what we're doing, come at this, because everybody thinks they're fighting for this small little piece of the market, and every client, they got to try to get every single client they can, where I just think like the industry as a whole is very broken right now. We've got a ton of people plowing into the industry, into the infinite banking space, a bunch of agents that sell life insurance the old way that, maybe aren't having the success. They hear about this infinite banking thing. They don't learn about the process. They just think that I'm going to put IBC with the whole life, and then I'm going to sell more whole lives, or the worst of them are the ones with the IULs. And it's just, I'd be interested to hear from the audience, because we got 40 people, like, what are you hearing out there? Like, are you getting people talking about this? Are you hearing about it more? Where are you getting your information? It's just something that, to me, it's becoming more and more evident that there's just a mass flow of people into the industry. And I kind of feel like, I feel like there's a lot of people doing a lot of disservice, because they're just trying to sell a product and they don't understand how it works. They understand the whole life. They have no clue they say infinite banking, but they have no clue what the infinite banking concept really is. They don't understand the process. All they're ever talking about is a product, not a process. And is anyone else seeing that, and more so the audience?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, people call me up. They say, Hannah, I have one of these banking policies, but I can't get the guy who sold it to me to give me a call back or answer any of my emails. So I mean, to take it a step further, I mean, anybody can go out there, get licensed, get contracted with the company, write a whole life policy. That's the easy stuff, right? Going through the motions of underwriting, the approval. But then once you have your policy, how do you incorporate it, and what are you doing? Are you playing that honest banker? Are you stealing the peas from yourself? So there's so much more in that. And to be honest with you, I believe in collaboration, right? I mean, there's so many other practitioners out there that we work with, because we're 100% just collaboration. I mean, there's 332 million people just here in the US. If I service at least 1 million of them, y'all can have the rest 331 million, right?
Yeah.
I put up a post in the Facebook group yesterday, just kind of like, asking for any words of encouragement for people who are taking the leap, and Tess commented on it that, somebody, she knows of somebody who's just has the cash value sitting there. So the problem is, that definitely seems like there is a problem with selling the infant banking as like an idea, or almost as if it's like the IUL, like it's going to do something for you, rather than it's something for you to do better with your money with it. Because I mean, that was that one notice from Mass Mutual, is people are selling it as a glorified savings account, which that's not what it is, or at least not how we teach it is, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And everything that we're talking about, I mean, we haven't gotten the comments. I mean, Kanani just posted something that's interesting, right, that we'll touch. But it's really about the mindset. Like, there is, like Hannah said, there's another 332 million people to help, right? And as many people as the Money Multipliers helped in the last decade plus, right? And we have a huge amount of people, because again, they're using this. So they're not just opening a policy and letting it close. Like 98% of people that start with us stay with us, because they're using this, taking ownership. Most people are afraid to take ownership. They want someone else to fix their problems, whether it's their weight, whether it's their relationship, whether it's their business, whether it's their marketing, whether it's their money. They want to put it over there. They don't want to say, hey, I'll own that. And the more abundant, the more I think about this, the more I think through this, it's like everyone thrives. And it's not about you on my computer, but I mean, it's just not about me. It's about the other person, right? Because the more we can disassociate ourselves and just like what we do, it's like, hey, we're solving your opportunity, your problem for you, so that you can take ownership of it. So if you have clarity on it, we can help you. If you don't, it's going to be really hard to help you. And if you come, like Chris said, with that other mindset, investing and thinking like, hey, this is just another place to invest my money. And that's not what it is.
Yep.
It's a process, right? So I think, Chris, that's what you're kind of hitting on. I don't think maybe what's out there and what we're seeing feels broken, but I think we're in an abundant place where we can really disrupt some things, right? I mean, because this, like when I learned about this, I'm like, that can't be true. That's what I said. This can't be true. I'm like, and asked my mentor. I'm like, I learned from Nelson Nash. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? Well, you didn't ask, which just proves that the quality of my questions weren't even to the point where I could get an answer because I didn't know what to ask.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, it reminds me, that's like why we do like this past weekend, like the 3-day workshops, is because there's so many opportunities to do something with your money. Like whether it's like digital assets with Roger Comstock and how he just does his $0 startup, or notes with Kevin Shortell, or cryptocurrency if you wanted to do that with Spencer. Like I almost wish it's a lot for us to put on those weekends, but like that's what the people need, is like methods. Like we do, like day one is pretty much like, this is where you should put your money first. And then these are all the things that you could or should do with it, to get it to move. Because putting it in there is not the answer. And a lot of people probably are sitting on cash value that's not yet tapped into.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
look, Joe's only hung one thing on his wall. What's it say, Joe? Oh, you're muted. Money never sleeps. All right, we got to sleep, people. You got to take care of yourself. You got to feed yourself. This is a temple. You got to get up. You got to exercise. You got to sleep. Your money don't got to sleep. So what are you doing with it?
Got to put it to work.
I mean, that meant that much. Joe doesn't even have a picture of his family. Just money never sleeps. The only thing he hangs on his wall. Sorry, Miss Hannah, please.
No, I think that was a very good comment that you said. I think people need to take ownership in their financial life, and a lot of people just don't know how to do it. And I know, like us over here, we're always putting out the content and feeding the public this information. But y'all, at the end of the day, too, you got to take action with the information as well. You can only lead the horse to water. I can't make you drink it. And that's a big thing that a lot of people in today's environment aren't doing, is that they want the easy route. Everyone just wants the easy way. Well, all right, if you want the easy way, then your life is going to look like this. So how do you see your life? And even on top of that, like even in investing, a lot of people think that, oh, I want to get into investing because I want to grow my money. Well, why? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to grow your money? What are the goals that you're looking to do? And actually, like Chris, you even say all the time, hey, what does your perfect day look like? And when I really sat down and wrote out my perfect day, it still involves talking about banking, maybe not as much being on the phone 12 hours a day, but you have to have those end goals of mind of your whole purpose of the why behind it, because then all the actions that you're doing right now just don't make sense. Yeah, you're trucking along this way, but why? Why are you trucking along that way?
We have Joe and Hannah talking about how many hours they're on the phone. I mean, man, you guys got to put some boundaries up. I know you love people, but man, you need some rest. No, but I love it. It's just repetition too. Like people, like Chris said this earlier, and it really caught my attention. He said, I get bored. I just want to make it more. I want to find something new that's going to make it. And people just need new ways to hear the same information. Right. And so Chris is like, oh, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to talk about something new. I'm going to challenge myself to grow, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to be uncommon, you got to be okay doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over. And I could talk till we shut this off and over again.
I do want to just touch on what she said about, she's part of an investment group, and she posted about IBC on there and was met with a ton of best way to get scammed and laughing emoji like type responses. But that's why you should get into like our infinite banking Facebook group, is because then you're in with that like-minded crew. So if you post about it in there, you're not going to be met with, the punching down.
Let me guess. They told you that you'd be better off putting money in the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones or the indexes or any of those investments, right? Well, Mr. Craig has put all the spreadsheets together showing you all the numbers, so you could if you ever want any of those, you could have some ammunition to go back to them, or just don't even waste the energy. Jump in, right?
Yeah. What did we find out in our use case we talked about the other day, Chris? It was we found that 401k account balances, and we also looked at the savings account balances of different age groups. And I think the 401k for people in retirement the average was about 255,000 and the median was about 86,000. And so let's take that amount of money and put it in the S&P 500, and let's use the most profitable time periods of like 1970 to 1999, where it was like 10.85%. So if you have $1 million in the market and you want to do a drawdown of, say, I think we did 6.5%, you ran out of money in 7 years. If you want to go with the 4% guidance a lot of advisors give you, you're now going to be living off of $40,000, maybe 30 to 40,000. So these people can laugh at you and say it's a scam, but the traditional system is not working. We've got the data. The system is not working. So you have to do something different, and people telling you that it's a scam, just let them go and keep doing your research.
They're part of the empire.
Well, they're part of the empire. And I came across a quote the other day. Chris, I shared this with you. We kind of laughed about it, but the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. So it takes work to get to this point. It takes education to get to these points, right? So we've all got work to do. We've got a lot of things we can look at. Like Shauna said, we've got the crypto guys, we've got the notes guys, we've got the PMC. There's tons of resources here to do something different.
I think one interesting thing too is, so many of these investment groups and the investment guys and, the advisors, they always are like comparing, the whole life to the investments. They want to do a side-by-side comparison. They should really read our friend Caleb's book, The And Asset, to understand we're not trying to say it's this or that. It's this and that. Change where your money goes first. Then, if you like investing in whatever investments they're talking, take the money out of this account and invest it over here. Like, where a scam part comes into that is, I have no idea. I could show the math. We could show the math. I mean, it's just, you could do both. And then you're making returns on both sides, but you've protected your family. It's tax-free growth that you get a spread, and it will continue to compound uninterrupted, unlike all the crap that they're talking about over in their investment group, which they don't even understand half of what we teach. That's the problem. It's the good old Will Rogers. The biggest problem is not what people don't know. The problem is what they think they know that just ain't so. And that's definitely their problem. They think they know what just ain't so.
I love that. I love the And Asset. I mean, it is the most abundant vehicle there is. Show us a more abundant vehicle. And it takes abundant minds to be able to use an abundant vehicle.
Right.
So if you want to stick to oars, go to stick to oars. That's what everyone else is doing. That's why they go back to the zero line or below it.
I put the Facebook, someone was asking what Facebook group. So I put the Infinite Banking Facebook group link in the chat. So hopefully you can see that there. But definitely join that. And if anybody's watching from the Infinite Banking group right now, because I know we're streaming there too, I'd almost like challenge you to post a comment about the things that you actually use, Infinite Banking for, because I know that I'm always more inspired by other people. Like, yes, like the people on the screen right now is great, and having somebody teach at you, but it's, to me, more powerful to hear it from people who are doing it, who are taking the walk side by side with you. So I think it's valuable from anybody in the Facebook group to be saying what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah.
So I was just here and I was pulling up Ariana's account just because, thinking that it's a scam, right? So when she's 40 years old, she deposits $10,000 a year, and she's able to take out $52,000. How much of a scam is that? Those are numbers. That's what it is.
Yeah. Joe, I've got a scam to share as well. My oldest, Paula, turned 14 years old in December. It's such a scam when I put $4,700 in and it grew $30,000. I felt really ripped off.
Oh my gosh. That's incredible.
What about, I actually got a text message. This is from a friend, and they talk a little bit about banking. And the guy was saying, I don't believe IBC is really much more lucrative than a normal bank account. I mean, not really. The MEC line is pretty limiting. So it takes like 20 plus years to save enough in your policy before you can borrow a significant sum to buy something like a house. At that point, a normal bank account pretty much does the same thing, and you aren't paying any fees or someone to earn a commission.
Yeah, and guess what? When you die, your bank account's gonna be much harder for your family to access than your actual policy, though, too. Am I right?
What did I use my first policy for? Oh, to buy a oceanfront condo. That's right.
Yeah.
That's just funny because every time I look at the numbers, like what you just said, Hannah, makes no bloody sense. This is one of those stupid whole lives that these idiot scammers keep talking about. I put 110 in and I got 103 I can take out immediately. The next year I put 10 in and I can take 10,691 out. The next year I put another 10 in and I can take 12,777 out. That looks like a scam to me, doesn't it?
Hey, wasn't that the one that I said that if we took the extra, we made more than something or other?
No, that's a different one, but
Okay.
same idea. Yeah, I mean, if we took this money out and lent it out at 12%, I mean, it's just simple math. I mean, but obviously these investment groups can't do simple math, and that person that emailed or messaged Hannah, they don't know how to do math, but it makes all the sense in the world. Like, look at what they're teaching our kids these days. Like, what is that math that they teach today? What is that called? Phonics? What do they call that crap?
Core? Something
Core?
Core, yeah, no.
Common Core.
Common
Common
Core.
Core.
They don't even teach kids how to do general, simple math. And that's the problem. Like, you know, I don't even know what Common Core is. I don't want to know. And I don't even want my daughter to learn Common Core because it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, can we just get back to just teaching people simple mathematics? Like 1 + 1 = 2. It's not 1 + 1 = 16 divided by 2, square root of something. What are we teaching them? Like, we trying to make everybody rocket scientists? Like, if you're going to be a rocket scientist, like, go do that. Like, for the rest of us, just teach us normal math.
See, Chris, but I don't agree with that. They know normal math. They know that if they come with us, they get 0.
Oh.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Missed that one.
Every financial advisor should know that this is the truth. And, you know, not, what do you call it? The spawn of Satan?
I used to be so nervous about, like, saying, you know, throwing advisors under the bus because, you know, it's the world I come from. I almost felt like I was, like, going against my old life or whatever you want to call it. Now it's just like they do it themselves. Like, you threw yourself under the bus. I didn't do that. Like, I just told people the truth. And then, you know, you're all mad. You're mad because you think I'm trying to take something from you. I'm not. I'm just telling the people the truth. Like, keep their money under management. They're going to leave you anyway because they're down 20+% right now. And eventually you're going to keep telling them the same old crap you've been lied to and told your whole, you know, financial advisor career. And eventually your clients are going to have enough of you and they're going to come over to the truth anyway.
Speaking of, Jonathan says, my financial advisor says he can set up an IBC policy, but wants me to pay off my debts first. I'm assuming to maximize my deposits into the policy. Is this good advice?
It's exactly what I just said. I just said this. Right in that. My advisor said he can set up an IBC policy. He doesn't even know what IBC is. He thinks the IBC is a policy. He thinks, oh, I'm going to do an IBC policy. Yeah, we're going to do one of those. It's a buzzword. The IBC, the infinite banking concept, is a process. He has no idea what the process is because in the first line, but he wants me to pay off my debts first.
Unreal.
I'm speechless right now. And I got a swear cup. I can't swear, otherwise I got to give money to like my worst enemies. So I'm not gonna say what I think right now. But like,
I love you implemented that. We talked about it this weekend. You
read.
implemented it. Like, that's how you become successful.
Of course I implement stuff. Just read what he said. Right in what he said says he hasn't the slightest clue what the infinite banking concept even is. He just wants to sell you, set up a policy so he gets a commission. And I'll bet you any money he tries to ask him, what kind of policy are you going to set up? And I bet you it's an IUL. And if it is a whole life, why don't you look at the numbers and do they look like this? Do they? Because if they don't, maybe you should just get a hold of us and tell your advisor, go fly a kite into some of those big clouds that are coming, which are some hydroxy chloride shit that kills you. Shoot.
I knew it.
Damn it.
It's for contribution. It was well worth the swear.
So the simple answer to that question is good advice. No, it's not. Okay.
It's not good advice.
All right, and I think we got one more question for now. How does the dividend and guaranteed interest work? Is it one or the other or both paid out every year?
Go ahead, Hannah. You're in the middle.
I've been in the middle.
You raised your hand.
Oh no,
Give us a peace sign.
Both. I mean, so you get your guaranteed interest, right? You get your guaranteed interest, whatever that set contractual interest is on your policy contract. And then when the company performs better than expected, they return the dividend. So then at the end of the year, you get your dividends. You get your guaranteed interest plus the dividends. And so that's why you see on the tabular detail chart, guaranteed side, which is your guaranteed interest, and then non-guaranteed are your projected dividends. And hey, just real quick to go back to that first question, I actually had somebody ask me that question today, and my response back to them, well, all right, financial advisor, if you can set this up for me, I've been working with you for the last 10 years. Why have you not told me this already? So you know this, but you've never told me this? All right, then if you do know how to really do this, show me how to get all the money back for all the cars that I'll ever buy, drive, and own for me and my family for the rest of my life using my policy. Oh, and then you know how to do that? Okay, then on top of that, why are you trying to tell me to pay off my debts first? I know how to use my policy to pay off my debts through the policy, never lose that opportunity cost, and keep the control of my money. So anyway, just my 2 cents, Mr. Jonathan.
You're on fire.
Yeah, tell your advisor too. He cost me $10. I'm not happy.
And everyone needs to lock in for those questions. That was fire.
I think there's another piece to that question, and I answered this on the Facebook group yesterday about how the guarantees and the dividends work together. So let's just say your guarantee is 3.75%, and the insurance company declares a 6% dividend. You're not getting the 6 plus the 3.75. You're getting the 6%.
The dividend is the dividend crediting rate, which blends the insurance or the interest rate and the dividend.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I've heard that question, I think, 2 or 3 times just this week, and had a relatively lengthy discussion on Facebook about it. So it's on our Facebook group. So
that's a very legitimate question when people ask that, because the way the insurance companies do it is, I don't know, just confusing. I mean, they say dividend crediting rate. So everybody thinks, oh, wow, I'm getting a 6% dividend. Oh, and they said I was getting 3%. And they're like, but wait, that doesn't seem to make sense. That's against what they said. The dividend crediting rate includes the interest that you receive. It's definitely probably a better way to word that, but you call the actuaries and try to have a legitimate conversation. I sat down with an actuary at one of the events we went to. He looked like a nice guy. He had a beer. I'm like, I could talk to this guy. And everybody stayed at the other table and was like, you are on your own. I went over there and just tried having a normal conversation with this actuary. It lasted about 15 seconds. I'm like, I'm going to go back over there. You can't talk.
Did you have your curse jar with you?
I didn't need to swear. I didn't even get off the ground. It'd be like going to a bar and you see this really, for the men, you see this really hot girl down at the end of the bar and you think you're all suave. You send a drink down there. She winks and blows you a kiss. You're like, you're in. And you walk down there and you sit down and you start, hey, so what's your name? And she starts talking in a foreign language you don't understand. Like, it's game over. Like, it's game over. Like, just go back down to the other end of the bar. That's what talking with actuaries is like.
I think you made it better than it might have been.
Yeah, he wasn't as cute as the girl I just mentioned.
Yeah, see?
Hey, just real quick to comment on Kai there. We don't want cars. We want real estate. Perfect. Replace the car with the real estate transaction. Yeah. Same thing.
Exact same thing. Yeah, you just replace it. It's all the same idea.
They replace it with whatever, right? Like go back to Joe and Chris's whole, Abbott and Costello with our money's here and HSA, our money's here, our money's here. Well, if you just put it in one place, you can use it for all those things. That's it.
I think there's over 100 videos on my YouTube channel right now with all sorts of examples of ways to use it for real estate, for lending, for cars, for debt, gosh, everything. Yeah, there is. So that's your source. Just go to the YouTube channel and just go nutty. Here's a good one. How to use the infinite banking concepts with real estate. Huh, that sounds like a good one. Let me give him that. Sorry, it just popped right up. See, Google and YouTube know what we're saying. I'm not kidding you. Like, I pulled my YouTube channel and it was in front of my face. I'm like, that's weird.
You talking about real estate and infinite banking? So weird.
Yeah, I think maybe all the videos might be the same. Yeah. Oh, they are. Oh, yeah.
I just got a message from someone that was on the 3-day, but they had missed some of it, so they've been watching the recordings. Which, by the way, if you missed the 3-day or purchasing it, we have the recordings available. It's the best one we've done yet. I don't know, Sean, is that page ready? But you guys should definitely buy the recordings if you weren't on live, because I just had somebody, and Joe, you'll appreciate this, Joe. He said, I've been really enjoying listening to the replays of the 3-day event. And was rolling laughing at the Q&A when discussing the HELOCs. And Joe talked about having a 3-way, and then somebody asked how big a HELOC was. So you might have to be there, but you got to catch that part if you watch the replays, because it was really funny.
Oh, I remember that.
No, I talked to Tyler today about getting them ready, like to sell for like a replay bundle thing. So we'll be getting that going.
So keep your eyes open for that and pick those up, because they are a lot of fun and the knowledge is crazy. So it is definitely worth it.
Woohoo! Thanks, Derek.
All right.
When can should we hit that last one?
Sure. When can you withdraw from the policy once you set it up?
Well, Donnie, you don't want to withdraw. You want to take a loan from your bank. So remember, we're creating a banking system that we're going to take back the banking functions in our life with through a process. So when you say withdrawal, what we think of is a loan. So if you put money in your policy, you're going to take a loan, because by taking a loan, the insurance company is advancing you part of your death benefit and collateralizing that loan with your cash value that you have in the policy. By doing it that way, the insurance company continues to pay you interest and dividends on all of your money, even though you're holding, a percentage. In this case, 110 goes in, 103 comes out. Maybe that's a bad example, but you have that 103, but you're still earning interest on the full 103,661, even though you took it out as a loan, because it was the insurance company handing you your death benefit, collateralizing it. So when you think of,
he does. I think he does get that part. So
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got scared with the withdrawal part, because we don't want to take withdrawals. But immediately in the first 30 days, all the time, every time.
And like whenever it's there, which is pretty quick.
So, I mean, we always say immediately in the first 30 days. But if you talk to some people that are using this, they're like, oh, I did mine in 2 days. I did mine in a week. I did mine in 14 days. It's all over the board. I mean, but when your money clears. No worries. Sorry, I didn't mean to go down a rabbit hole. I just got triggered by withdraw.
Cool.
That it?
I think so. And this has been really fun. An hour goes by really quick.
Super fast. Super fast. So, folks, with that being said, thanks for your questions. Thanks for letting us babble and have some fun with all of you. And I hope you all enjoyed this. And we will see you probably tomorrow. Maybe it'll be the next day. Could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or possibly Friday. So we'll see you one of the days this week or next week on the next training. Thanks. We'll see you soon.